Jai Shri Ram, my friends, and once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Akash Vani, Gyaan, Upadesh. Now, today's show, as we've been bringing you for the last couple of weeks, we bring you the show of Nowrat. We bring you Ram Navami. And today we're going to be cap it off with Nowrat, the ending of Nowrat. We went to the Prem Bhakti Mandir, live on location, and we capture the ending ceremony of this wonderful 9-day session of Navratri. Pandit Satish was there presiding, so we're going to be bringing you a special message from Pandit Satish Deo. So please sit back and relax, and do hope that you really enjoy our show that we are bringing you for the past couple of weeks. Next week we're going to be spotlighting Hanuman Jayanti, so please stay tuned for that. And we also have a big Mother's Day show coming up. We're going to bring you more details about that, where you can buy your tickets for that show. It's a jam-packed show, and we're going to have the producer of that show will be here live in the studio. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that show as well. So do hope Ma, Saraswati Ma, Lakshmi Ma, and Durga Ma shower the divine blessing upon each and every one of you. And thank you so much for tuning in week after week and support this wonderful show, Akash Vani, Gyaan, Upadesh. So do hope you enjoyed today's show. We're going to be bringing you live from the Prem Bhakti Mandir that the Akash Vani crew went there, and we capture it to bring it for you. So sit back and do hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to Akash Vani, Gyaan, Upadesh. Durga Ma blessing to each and every one of you. Jai Shri Ram.
I know to those few bhajans, you have reached the stage that you may want to dance in celebration of Navaratri. But as we lead you up to the pravachan from our beloved Panditji, we will be doing this kirtan and a few moments of meditation.
शरणागत दीनार्ता परित्राणाय परायणे सर्वस्यार्ति हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। जय त्वं देवी चामुण्डी जय भूतार्तिहारिणी जय सर्वगते देवी कालरात्रि नमोस्तुते। ओम महागौर्ये नमः। हरि ओम। प्रेम से बोलो महागौरी माता की जय। प्रिय भक्तजनों, इस पवित्र स्थान पर आकर इस सुंदर मंदिर का प्रवेश करके मेरा आनंद है जो है इसका वर्णन नहीं किया जा सकता। और इस अष्टमी तिथि को हम लोग मिलजुल कर यहाँ पर आए हैं भवानी माँ की महिमा सुनने के लिए, इसीलिए हम सब यहाँ पर आए हैं। आज हम नवरात्रि के बारे में और खास तौर पर अष्टमी तिथि के बारे में की कथा सुनेंगे। Dear revered devotees of Satya Sanatana Dharma, bhaktas of Durga Bhavani Ma, I offer my most hearty pranam and Jai Ambe Ma to all of you. Having joined in that wonderful kirtan and the several bhajans which were sung before, we are indeed in the correct frame of mind to hear the glories of the Divine Mother. And furthermore, प्रेम से बोलो जगदम्बे मैया की जय। Furthermore, having put our mind in a state of dhyanam also, that is meditation, as we did, that further puts our mind in the correct frame. Because katha and pravachan is not something you listen to like when the president or any other politician speaks. This is something you have to be mentally prepared for, spiritually prepared for also. Otherwise, it becomes a lecture. It becomes reduced down to a lecture, which you can go to a university and hear. This is of a different nature. And that is why we always leave this until the latter parts of our satsang and puja. Because only then our mind is put in the correct frame to listen to these pravachan. So Bhaktajano, before we begin, let us once again, as we have been doing all evening, sing the praise of the Divine Mother, and then we shall go into details with this katha. Durga Bhavani Ma, Jaya Jaya Ambe Ma, Durga Bhavani Ma, Jaya Durga Bhavani Ma, Jaya Jaya Ambe Ma. Bhaktajano, where we take our katha from tonight is called the Devi Bhagavad Mahapuran. There are two main texts where we can get Devi katha from. One is called the Chandi Path, otherwise known as Durga Saptashati. Saptashati in Sanskrit means 700. So that is a text that has 700 verses. That is one. The Devi Bhagavad Mahapuran is the other one. That is much longer, much more vast than the Durga Saptashati. So either one we can choose from, to read from. So I have chosen to read from the Devi Bhagavad today. Why? Because today is Ashtami Tithi. What does that mean? Out of the 9 days, we are now on the 8th one. And as we shall see, this is the Shastra, this is the holy text, which describes to us what is special about this day in particular out of all of the 9 days. So all of you are indeed blessed that on this day especially, you can be here. So before I go further, I once again would like to thank the management of Prem Bhakti Mandir for hosting me here this evening, as they have done on previous occasions within the past year or so. I'm still a recent arrival in this country, that hence a short time that I have been coming here, but still, I'm very happy whenever I'm here. And our Shrota for today, it is a pleasure to do puja for them. And also, I must acknowledge the presence of my dear brother, Bhai Navin Phagu, who I believe is a cousin of our Yajman as well. And he is here representing Akash Vani Media, of which I am also part too. So it is a pleasure to have his company. And of course, his Dharmapatni. During Nowratri, it's not good to leave the Devi home. She must be brought into the mandir as well. So he has done exactly that this evening. Now, we commence Katha with the original shloka, the original writing in the book. We cannot speak it in English straight away. Because you know there is a saying that things get lost in translation. So it is not always accurate to just speak everything in English here. Even if you do not understand the Sanskrit words, you know, the sound that they have creates the necessary vibrations. We notice when we listen to mantras and so on. How many of you, when you learned Gayatri mantra as a child, I'm sure all of you would have learned that, the first mantra you might have learned. How many of you immediately knew what it meant, word for word? I can tell you, I did not as a small child. I didn't know. As you grow up and you study more, then you learn what it means. But it is merely the sound of these words, which cannot be replicated in any other language. And that is why these sacred words are very important for us to listen to. So, I ask everyone to listen attentively to these words, taken straight from the Devi Bhagavad Mahapuran. Janami Jaya Uvacha Navaratri Tvasam Prapte Kim Kartavyam Dvijotama Vidham Vidhivad Brohe Sharat Kali Visheshatah Kim Phalam Khalokas Tatra Vidhikaro Mahamate Etadvistarato Brohi Kripaya Dvija Sattama Om Aim Hrim Krim Chamundaye Vikke Prem Se Bolo Jagadambe Maiya Ki Jai. अर्थात कि जन्मे जय बोले कि हे द्विज श्रेष्ठ, नवरात्र के आने पर और विशेष करके शारदीय नवरात्र में क्या करना चाहिए, उसका विधान आप मुझे भली भांति बताइए। हे महामते, उस पूजन का क्या फल है और उसमें किस विधि का पालन करना चाहिए। हे द्विजवर, कृपया विस्तार के साथ मुझे ये सब बताइए. So these first words actually are spoken by Janmejaya. Now Janmejaya is an individual we don't hear about very often. So it is necessary for us to identify him first before we go any further. You know, these words will have very little meaning if we do not understand who is saying them. So who is Janmejaya? Well, let us go back a few generations from him. And as the Gita Canon tells us, Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Puranam Nina Madhya Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshini Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayini Ambatva Manusannadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini. प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. What are the words of that shloka? Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata Narayanena swayam. This is talking about Bhagavad Gita. So who is Partha? That's the first word of that shloka. Partha. Who is that? Arjuna. Partha is another name for Arjuna. What it's saying is that Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam. It said this Gita was listened to by Arjuna and then spoken by who? Narayana Swayam. Narayan, Lord Vishnu himself in the form of Shri Krishna Bhagavan. So this is a well-known fact already. This is nothing we need to elaborate upon any further because we all know it. That Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna. Arjuna was the first listener of Bhagavad Gita. Now, who was the son of Arjuna now? We know Abhimanyu was the son of Arjuna. Now what would happen to him? Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was a very brave warrior. But what happened? When he was still inside his mother now, something interesting happened. When he was inside his mother, who was Subhadra, the wife of Arjuna, Arjuna was teaching her about warfare and telling her that there are certain battle formations that I can penetrate, I can get through it. And I will teach you how to get through it as well. And he was telling her how to get inside a particular battle formation now. By the time he's ready to tell her how to get out of it, she gets very bored now. She's a female, she's not going to go on the battlefield. Why does she need to know this? So she sleep away now. So he never got to tell her how to get out of it. Now, as I said, the same time Abhimanyu was inside of her. And this is a very important lesson, that a child has sensation and perception even before birth. That's important to know. So an expectant mother, it is important for her to be in the correct environment, always. So now when Abhimanyu was born, he grew up, he married also, and his wife was expecting a child at this very same time when the Mahabharata war broke out. Now, the opposing army decided to set up this very same formation which Arjuna had taught his wife many, many years before. Now Abhimanyu knew how to get in. But what happened? What was the problem? His mother fell asleep when his father was telling her how to get out. So he never learned how to get out of there. And he ended up surrounded. Hundreds of warriors to one. Single-handedly he was surrounded. Of course he would not survive that fight. And he lost his life before his child was born. And then there are many, many more details about what happened to that child before he was even born. But eventually, Arjuna's grandson was born now. Abhimanyu's son was born. And what was he named? Parikshit. What does the word pariksha mean? In Hindi, it means test or examination. So it means he is the one who went through many trials before he was born. So there we are. We've covered 3 generations now. Arjun, who is the next one? Who is the next one? Right, good. Okay. Just checking we're still on track. That we didn't get lost along the way. Now, Parikshit now, an incident happened in his life also. That one day he was hunting in the forest and he became very thirsty. And it wasn't days when you had bottled water to fetch about. You had to find some source of water around to quench your thirst. So he in wandering, he came upon an ashram where a rishi was meditating. Just what we were doing just now. But he was in such a state of samadhi, so detached from his surroundings, he did not know what was going on around him. So when Parikshit went before him, he clasped his hand, he said, "Hey Rishwar, mujhe pani dijiye, mujhe pyas lag rahi hai." He said, "Please give me some water, I'm very thirsty. Please tell me where I can get some water at least." The Rishi obviously did not hear him. Now Parikshit, what did he think? He said, "This man must be ignoring me. I need help and he just wants to be lazy and do not help me." So what did Parikshit do? There was a dead snake lying on the ground. He took an arrow and he bore that snake because he didn't want to touch the dead animal even. And then with the arrow he picked up the snake and put it on the Rishi's neck now as an insult to him. And he had a good laugh. He said, "Wait, when he wake up you'll see what I did to him in return for the insult he gave to me." Now before the Rishi could open his eyes now, his son came home, by which time Parikshit had gone away already. And when the son saw this, by his spiritual insight he knew exactly who did it. And he took a lota of water and he poured it on the ground and he pronounced a shra. And he said, that king who has done this, 7 days from now, the king of serpent, because he used a snake to insult my father, and he wanted to use a snake to get revenge on him too. 7 days, the king of snakes, who is named Takshak, will go and bite him and kill him instantly. So when the Rishi woke up from his meditation, he could see his son was in a rage, breathing heavy, his eyes bloodshot and everything. So he said, "What happened? Some grave incident must have happened while I was in meditation." And the son explained everything to him. And the Rishi told him, "You should not have put that curse on him. Parikshit is the grandson of Arjun, the devotee of Lord Krishna. You've done a wrong thing by putting a strap on him. I will forgive him. He's a younger person than me. I will forgive him for his ignorance. You should not have cursed him so hastily." So then, the son then decided, okay, I will make some kind of amend for what I have done. And he went to Maharaj Parikshit and he warned him. And he said, just to let you know, by the way, you only have 7 days to live. That's a nice thing to tell him, isn't it? At least he get a warning now. At least now you have something which you call bucket list. I learned that phrase when I come in this country. What is a bucket list? It's a list of things that before you die you must do it. So if he had any bucket list, he only has 7 days to complete that list now. He didn't have as long as he originally intended. So now, what would be his bucket list? Let's listen to this now. He said, "You know what? I only have 7 days. I just want to listen to Katha, that's all. So that when the snake comes to bite me, my mind will be so absorbed in Bhagavan that there is no question I will get moksha." So he went to who? Sukadeva Goswami, who was only 16 years old at the time. He is the son of Maharishi Vedvyas. And Sukadeva Goswami narrated to him constantly over the course of 7 days, the glories of Lord Vishnu in particular. This became known as the Bhagavad Mahapurana. So look at that. We have Arjuna listen to Bhagavad Gita, Parikshit listen to Bhagavad Mahapurana. Now, when Parikshit died, after the 7 days, the prophecy had to come through, he had to die. He had a son left behind also. And that son was named Janamejaya. Finally we get to this one now. We had to make a connection from the familiar one to the unfamiliar. That's why I went through that lineage just now. Janamejaya. Now what would he listen to? He would ask Maharishi Vedvyas about the Divine Mother, because he knew that his great-grandfather, who is Arjun, had prayed to Durga Ma before he went into battle. This is documented in Mahabharata. That is why Janamejaya was very curious to know more about the Divine Mother. And he is having a dialogue with Vyasji, Maharishi Vedvyas, the same Vedvyas who have recorded Mahabharata. He's having a dialogue with him, and that is how Devi Bhagavad Mahapuran came about now. So what question did Janamejaya ask, first of all? He asked a question that, I have heard of something called Nowratri. Nowratri, which especially is observed in Sharad Ritu. What is Sharad Ritu? Sharad Ritu means fall season. Please tell me, what is the correct way to observe this? Why do we observe it? And what is the result of observing it? What's the point of it? We don't do something unless we get a benefit from it. So tell me, what is the benefit of observing Navratri? And I'm sure all of us might have that question in our mind. Why are we here tonight? Well, Janamejaya had that question. And he said, Kripaya Vistar ke saath mujhe ye sab bataiye. He said, please tell me, Vistar means detail. Sarvanasha karavubho tasma tatra prakartavyam chandika pujanam budhe chaitra shrini shubhe masi bhakti purvam naradhipa om aim hrim pincha mundaye vichi prem se bolo भगवती दुर्गा भवानी माता की जय। व्यास जी बोले कि हे राजन, अब मैं पवित्र नवरात्र व्रत के विषय में बता रहा हूं, सुनिए। शरद काल के नवरात्र में विशेष करके ये व्रत करना चाहिए। उसी प्रकार प्रेम पूर्वक वसंत ऋतु के नवरात्र में भी इस व्रत को करें। ये दोनों ऋतुएं सब प्राणियों के लिए यमदंष्टा कही गई है। So he says, first of all, you must know that Navratri, as you correctly said, is observed mainly in the fall season. Out of these two Navratri we know about, that is the main one. Not this one we are in now, but the one that will come September, October time of year. That is the main Navratri. This is a secondary one. But still, all is important. Now, are these the only two Navratri that exist? We have to think about this now. Actually, there are two more. There are four in total. So one is called Magha Navratri. Magha is January, February time of year. Now, who can think about a festival that comes that time of year? Vasant Panchami, excellent. That actually falls inside that Navratri. When we observe Vasant Panchami, besides planting of Holika, that's what we really look forward to on that day. But besides the planting of Holika, there's another significance of Vasant Panchami. Who do we worship? Saraswati Ma. Children are encouraged to bring their books and pencil and pen, whatever they will use in their studies, and offer it to Saraswati Ma on that day. And as the name would suggest, Vasanta Panchami, it is the fifth day. That is the fifth day out of the 9 days of Navratri. So if you want to know when is Magha Navratri, it's never listed on our calendar. Then you go 4 days before that, and then 4 days after that again. And include that day in the middle, and then you get your 9 days. It's as simple as that to figure it out. When is that Navratri? The other one is called Ashadha Navratri. That now is in the summertime. That is June, July. That time of year. Sometimes it falls in June, sometimes July, sometimes across the 2 months. Depending on how the calendar works that year. So we see actually there are four. Why? Because there are 4 seasons really. In fact, in India there are 6 seasons, but 4 main ones, which we all know about. There's a spring season, which we are technically in now. I say technically, but it's still cold outside. And then summer, which will come after this, and then fall, and then winter. These are the 4 main seasons. And each one of those have to have a Nowratri in it. So we know about the fall one, we know about the spring one, but we must be clear that there are also ones in winter and summer also. Why is it that these other two are not listed on our calendars? Because the things that are listed, well actually I think we should start listing it on the calendar meeting. But the reason it is not publicized is because these ones are not publicly observed. These ones are not to be observed inside the mandir. Those are the 2. Privately, simply by yourself, within your family home. Those other 2 Nowratri, the winter Nowratri and the summer Nowratri, that is how you observe it. No other way than that. The only public celebration during these 2 is the one we mentioned, Vasant Panchami. That's all. Besides that, you observe it quietly by yourself. So 2 public Nowratri, you can say, and 2 private Nowratri. What does that remind us? There are 2 ways we can pray to the Divine Mother. One is by satsang, what we are doing now. And what is the value of satsang? It is association with other devotees of the Divine Mother. Ramayana, I don't need to tell you, Ramayana goes on many verses about the benefit of that. And also we get to learn more about her. But there are times we need to just sit by ourselves without any outward distraction. You know, everything has a good and a bad. When we have public celebration, sometimes our mind gets distracted with the details of what we have to do, sometimes our mind drifts away from the Divine Mother. That is why we have 2 smaller Nowratri, where all we do is concentrate on her. Don't worry about anything else during those times. So, Vyasi says that I will just discuss the 2 main ones, because as I said, those are the really big ones you need to know about. And he goes on to say, Sharat Tatha Vasan Namak, ye dono ritu sansar mein praniyon ki ye durgam hai. Ateva Atma Kalyan ki इच्छुक व्यक्ति को बड़े यत्न के साथ ये नवरात्र व्रत करना चाहिए. ये वसंत तथा शरद दोनों ही ऋतुएं बड़ी भयानक है और मनुष्यों के लिए रोग उत्पन्न करने वाली है. ये सबका विनाश कर देने वाली है. अतएव हे राजन, बुद्धिमान लोगों को शुभ चैत्र तथा आश्विन मास में भक्ति पूर्वक चंडिका देवी का पूजन करना चाहिए. So Maharishi Ved Vyas then goes on to explain why is it that the spring and the fall ones are the main ones and they are the big ones. Well, he says that those are very temperamental season. A lot of change occurs during those season. The change from winter into spring is more apparent than the change from spring into summer. The change from spring into summer is not so obvious. And the change from fall into winter is not so obvious either. But when summer changes to fall, it becomes more obvious. When winter changes to spring, it's more obvious then. So these are periods of change. And also it says, Manusho ke liye rog utpann karne wali hai. What is rog? What is the meaning of rog in Hindi? Sickness. And if you go to pharmacy this time of year, in the fall time of year, I think that's when they give the flu shot the most. So what Maharishi Ved Vyas is saying here, he knew it already, long before any Rite Aid or Walgreens knew about it. That these are seasons of the year when we are most vulnerable to sickness. And change, change is, we have to adapt our situation and so on for the changing season. And it is said in times of vulnerability and change, it is the mother out of all of the devatas who will help you. Which one has more instinct? Well, out of the 2 parents, which has a close instinct with the child more? It is the mother, really. Father is important, yes. Another day, maybe tomorrow around Nomi, we can discuss the fathers a bit. But today we're focusing on the mothers. And it is them who have that real instinct to look after the child. And we are all children of the Divine Mother. So that is why these seasons are designated for the two main Navratri, the changing seasons, the vulnerable seasons. So let us hear further what Maharishi Vedvyas has to say about Navratri. Amavasyam cha samprapya sambharam kalpayet shubham havishyam cha shanam karyam eka bhuktam tu taddine mandapasto prakartavya same desheshu bhisthale hastashorashamanena स्तंभाध्वज समन्विता गौरमृद गोमयाभ्याञ्च लेपनं कारयेतता तन्मध्ये वेदिका शुभ्रा कर्तव्या च समास्थिरा ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय विद्ये। प्रेम से बोलो आदि शक्ति दुर्गे जगदम्बे मैया की जय। अमावस्या आने पर व्रत की सभी शुभ सामग्री एकत्रित कर ले और उस दिन एक भुक्त व्रत करे और भविष्य ग्रहण करे। किसी समतल तथा पवित्र स्थान में 16 हाथ लंबे चौड़े और स्तंभ तथा ध्वजाओं से सुसज्जित मंडप का निर्माण करना चाहिए। उसको सफेद मिट्टी और गोबर से लिपवा दे। तत्पश्चात उस मंडप के बीच में सुंदर चौरस और स्थिर वेदी बनाए। So the first word of this set of shloka which I just read is Amavasya. Which day is Amavasya? It is a new moon, the darkest night of the month, when the moon cannot be seen. That is what Amavasya is. And in fact, the day before Navratri starts is always Amavasya, always, without variation. Whether it's this one or the fall one or whichever, the winter or summer one which I spoke about. Amavasya is always the day before Navratri. Because Navratri must always be at a time when the moon is getting brighter. So it must be preceded by the darkest phase of the moon. So what he says, that Amavasya day, you must be prepared already. Anything which you are going to offer to the Divine Mother, you must have purchased it already. Or put it together already. Do not wait for the middle of Navratri. From before Navratri starts, everything should be ready. So Bhakta Jano, this is an important message, a hidden message in here for this age we are living in. When we do, if you have puja at 2 o'clock, let's say for example, hypothetically tomorrow, let's say, when do you start setting up your puja place? 2 o'clock? Well, let me tell you as a Pandit, that has happened. That happens very often. Sometimes you will go to I'm not saying most people, a few people, this happens. And I'm not condemning them, it's just because, things could have happened to them or they don't know better, it's okay. So you turn up there and you would not know anything is happening in that house that day. It happens. But what this shloka is telling us, we must be prepared beforehand. From the day before, we must already be prepared to go. At least from the day before, if not before that even. So preparation is of utmost importance, and I'll be finishing Pravachan soon. Preparation is of utmost importance for Navratri to be observed properly. If you have not prepared yourself, then Navratri will not be a successful one. That is something in the clay. So white clay you must get. And then mixed with that it says, Safed mitti or gobar se lipuadi. What is gobar now? Recently I did puja for my baby son in Gyaan. And I went to get it from the Gaushala, which is nearby, where my family lives there. And then even the children were looking at me strange when I was doing this. Now, I'm talking about now generation now. Even there, this has happened now. That this tradition has gone to the wayside now. And I was told, even the elder people say, how long I didn't see this? Nobody does this anymore. Well, I don't know, that's Garson. I don't know in the country areas, maybe they might do it still. But this is something prescribed in our Shastra. It's not just something we do for the sake of doing it. We are supposed, well, in the local diet they say you die with the gobar and the white one. But it says here this must be done. Because Gau Mata, the cow is the most revered animal besides human beings. Let us not make that mistake. Sometimes we get so caught up with respecting cows, we forget we have to respect human beings as well. So after human beings, the next respected form of life is the cow. So that is why anything that comes from the cow, except anything that we have to hurt the cow. You know what I'm referring to there, I'm not going to say it out loud. But anything else we get from the cow is sacred, and we use the items here. The milk we offer, even the ghee is supposed to come from milk really, not the vegetable one we supposed to use here, the one that comes from the milk. So Vedya says this is important, to use these items to prepare our puja place, and all this must be done from Amavasya night. All of this must be ready. So Bhaktajano, as I conclude Pravachan, we have heard here about preparation for Navratri. We have heard the history of the person who is asking about it. Because if not for Janmejaya, the person who asked the question in the first place, we would not have all this information documented here in the Devi Bhagavad Purana. And I will just summarize and say that it is declared that Ashtami, the day before the last one, is the most important one out of all those 9 days. It is even said, if you cannot observe Navratri and keep a fast for all 9 days. Now, I think that is important in New York today. Because a lot of people tell me, and I know with the lifestyle over here, it's hard to keep a proper fast. When I say fast, I mean abstain from salt and grains and all of these things. If you have to go to work early in the morning, come home late at night, that is hard to keep up for 9 days. So if you cannot do it, it is said Ashtami is the best day at least. If you cannot sit down and do puja any day, do it on the Ashtami day. And this year, we are lucky to be here because we are on the Ashtami, the most sacred day. But what's the other reason? There's another reason. What else is today besides it being Ashtami day? Which day of the week are we on? On Friday. And Friday is the day to worship Durga Ma. So the fact that Friday and Ashtami have combined with each other makes this the most auspicious day to perform puja and listen to her glories. So once again, in closing, I would like to thank Prem Bhakti Mandir once again, all of the members here, all of you devotees for listening so attentively, and I look forward to joining you again tomorrow, where we will be celebrating an occasion of a different nature. We will not be discussing Durga Ma tomorrow, but some other divine entity, which we'll hear more about tomorrow. So I look forward to seeing all of you and more. I'm sure the management will agree with me that we should spread the word and let more people come out tomorrow. And Bhai Devin, thank you for being here also. I'm sorry you didn't get to play much. This is Shloka, we don't play Dholakwala. But it's a pleasure to have you here. So I will close up with one more prayer to Durga Ma, and then I'm finished with it. Prathamam Shailaputri cha Dvitiyam Brahmacharini Tritiyam Chandrakhantepi Pushmandepi Chapurthakam Panchamam Skanda Mateti Shashtham Katyayini Picha Saptamam Kalaratri Mahagori Chashtamam Navamam Siddhi Datri Cha Navadurga Prakirtita Uktani Tani Namani Brahmaneva ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुंडाय विद्महे। प्रेम से बोलो दुर्गा भवानी माता की जय, महाकाली माता की जय। प्रेम से बोलो महागौरी माता की जय।
Folks, and once again, thank you so much for tuning into Akash Vani Gyaan Upadesh. Welcome back. Do hope you enjoy this 1 hour of this beautiful, the ending ceremony of the 9 nights of Nowratri. We were there at the Prem Bhakti Mandir last week, and we captured the ending part with Pandit Satish Dio. Pandit Satish has been migrating to different mandirs to do satsang for Nowratri. So do hope you enjoy that, the wonderful message that he left to you. Just want to remind each and every one of you that we are here on this channel every Monday from 9 to 10 p.m. Verizon Channel 37. We're also on Spectrum TV channel 1997 as well, and we repeat back on Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on this channel. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your support. I mean, I can't say it more than enough to thank each and every one of you for your support, for your beautiful email messages. And also when we go on location, you guys come to us and tell us we're doing a wonderful job. I want to thank you for that, for encouraging us, for bringing these shows to you week after week. Like I said, this has been a very, very busy month. And the summer is going to be coming. The summer is going to be more busy. So we're going to go live to different locations so we can bring you guys footage of what's happening in our community. As you all know, the show is about our community and about our culture. So we want to bring you a little bit both about that week after week to come. Next week, we're going to be spotlighting. We're going to be going to different mandirs and get you the singing of 108 bhajans, 108 Hanuman Chalisa, matter of fact. So we're going to be going to a few mandirs, and we're going to bring you that next week program. And we're also going to go to the Sri Trimurti Bhavan, and we're going to bring you live coverage from that satsang as well with Pandit Chunilal Narayan. So please stay tuned for that. It's going to be a treat for us. He always does a wonderful job. And the mandir is, of course, going to be jam-packed. We all know that. Year after year, we've been going to the Trimurti Bhavan, and every time there's a special occasion, the mandir is normally jam-packed. So we're going to bring you that footage in the coming weeks to come. So do stay tuned for that. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Akash Vani Gyaan Upadesh. Have a wonderful, blessed week ahead. Jai Shri Ram.